Disappointing result for Boro against Sunderland. It was a game they really needed to win, but they weren't capable of doing it. We're now looking at a run of Premier League games that's now extended to 9 without a win. That's the main reason why Boro have slipped into the position they're in. Obviously, a point just isn't good enough. You can't pull away with an occasional point. You must win games. And again, we had a situation where Boro were in front for quite some time. I think in many respects they were unlucky, because if it hadn't been for injuries to Didier Degarde and Josh Walker, I honestly believe they would have held on and taken all 3 points. But what happened was they lost control of the midfield, and in the last half hour, in addition to conceding the equaliser, could easily gone on to lose it, because Sunderland really did put them under a lot of pressure in the last 15 minutes in particular. In the end, they managed to scrape through with a point, but again, not good enough, and problems really for Gareth Southgate and his squad and his coaches to sort out in the near future, because as things stand, Boro are in a relegation battle, no ifs or buts. It's a situation they've really engineered for themselves, because they haven't been effective enough in front of goal. We're looking at really poor goal scoring record over the last 2 months. Nice to see Afonso Alves getting back on the goals trail, but we need more from him, not only from him but from other players. Tunjai's been a little bit of a disappointment lately, but in general haven't been creating the chances. Sunderland showed that if you come here tight, organised and determined to try and stop the Boro from creating openings, then they can't do it. We are essentially a footballing side, but we struggle to break down tight defences. It's one of the reasons why we're where we are, and if teams continue to do that, the Riverside, our record here is not going to get any better. So certainly worrying times, and a win's desperately needed. Having failed to beat Sunderland, Boro now find themselves in a situation where they're going away from home desperate to win. In many respects, playing a team from the bottom 3 in West Brom, it's an ideal situation. Certainly as West Brom let you play, and Boro like to play. Boro have actually played very well away from home this season. Certainly if you want to compare it to the last couple of seasons. Haven't always got the results to go with the performances, but a chance again to put it right on Saturday. I think they'll go to West Brom and play quite well, capable of winning it. We know that West Brom are playing probably as well as they have done all season. They did go through a very sticky spell earlier in the season when they were in danger of being tailed off. A couple of home wins has improved that for Tony Mowbray's boys, and they will have plenty of confidence against Boro. So a tough game, but a game in which you've got a chance. Nice to think that Didier Degarde will be available. I thought he was absolutely superb against Sunderland, and it was his injury, as I say, that really contributed to the fall off in performance. They certainly lost control of the midfield against Sunderland after losing him. So it's absolutely crucial he's recovered. He left the field against Sunderland with a bump the size of an egg on the side of his temple. That was having treatment as we speak. Will continue to have treatment, but it's not stopping him from playing, and I don't think there'll be any problems. I think he will be there against West Brom. It doesn't look as though the news is so good for Josh Walker, who in many respects has been a dramatic, sudden discovery in many respects. He's emerged from almost from nowhere over the last 2 games. Played very well against Sunderland, looked as though he'd been there for a long time, won the ball, did the right thing, never wasted a pass, usually played the easy one, and did everything right. So a big blow to be without him, but he's got ankle ligament problems, and they normally do take 2 or 3 weeks to heal. So a big blow for the lad, and in many respects it was you know, you can understand why he came off the pitch with tears in his eyes, because he'd done so well, and he knew that the injury was potentially going to lead to him losing his place. But whoever comes in, it may be Gary O'Neill, has got to come in and really carry things on. I don't see too many changes being made at West Brom other than enforced ones, because the team did try, did work hard, and certainly up front with Alves starting to score goals again, there's plenty of hope that Boro can begin to move forward. 2 games unbeaten doesn't sound a lot, but it's a start, and it's something to build on and and go to West Brom with confidence. I don't think the team showed that much belief in the dressing room after the Sunderland game. I'm told they were devastated, but again it's up to Southgate and his coaches to make sure that morale's restored and everybody's lifted before we go to the Hawthorns. One thing we are looking at probably for the whole of January is that there won't be too many changes, if any, to the squad. A couple of players gone out on loan, but in terms of first team regulars, Southgate has again stressed that he has no money at all to spend and doesn't anticipate any incoming signings. There was a possibility that Mido might be swapped for Newcastle United's Alan Smith. It seems that now definitely won't happen. And of course Boro have already turned down big bids for Stuart Downing and Gary O'Neill. The main reason for this is that first of all, Downing is Boro's best player and nobody wants to see him leave the Riverside, certainly not at this moment in time. And Gary O'Neill, while £4.5 million you might think is a reasonable offer for a player, certainly gives you your money back. The bottom line is that Southgate does not believe that the money could be spent sensibly in terms of getting value for money in January. He doesn't think that clubs in general want to release the type of players you want to sign, and therefore the money wouldn't go anywhere. Sensible thinking, I think, but at the bottom line, once you've told players who might be leaving that they're not leaving, you have to get their mindset right and make sure they concentrate on the job. I don't think there'll be too many problems with that respect in Downing. We saw what he did against Sunderland. He's a home-loving boy, totally committed to the club. And while he has said he'd like to move on to further his ambitions, I don't really think that Middlesbrough can stand in his way in the long term, nor would they intend to. But we would hope that they've really convinced Stuart to stay until the summer at least. And if that happens, he will be a key player in the battle to stay up, which is what it is at the moment. It's a relegation battle. In many respects, he's got experience and so does O'Neill. O'Neill might be a little bit different because his head had definitely been turned big style by Portsmouth. We are led to believe they made it absolutely clear that they were going to come in with a reasonable offer. I think £4.5 million is a reasonable offer, and many fans will think that Boro maybe should have taken it. O'Neill may have thought he was going back to Portsmouth this month. That's not going to happen. Pompey have already said they won't be increasing their offer. They won't be coming back in. Spurs have been told in no uncertain terms not to make a third offer for Downing. So Southgate must, make sure that both players continue to do what they're expected to do for the club, play a big part in keeping this team in the Premier League. Whatever happens in the summer, I do think that there will be a bit of money to spend at that occasion, and that Southgate will have to show that he can take the team forward. The main thing, as we stand, is to make sure that Boro stay up.